Well, it is about time to start our DreamHack Showdown matches. Now, I know that our desk probably quite excited for what's about to go down. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of these teams, and I'm going to ask you this, Fearless, like, when you're sort of looking at this tournament as a whole, like, are there any teams that you're looking at to be, like, maybe a breakout within Europe at the moment? Because we've got our X-Sets, we've got our Galaxy Racers. Is there a team that could realistically challenge them?
I have my eyes. I first off, I had it on Project C, but I realized that there might not have been as much practice on the backside of it. And I was actually hoping to see Arcane Wave come in because their core has been together for, what is it, like 3 or 4 years now. They've only switched, I believe, 1 player. So I had high hopes. Sadly, the first game they had against Exit was maybe not living up to their standards, but today is a new day, a new shot for them to hopefully take a W.
I'm very lucky because Fearless has basically just set this up perfectly for me. She's named the 2 teams we've got coming up next. But to start things off, Miss Harvey, focusing on what we've seen so far within the bracket, I wouldn't say there's been too many surprises, but has any team been able to maybe catch you off guard a little bit with what we've seen so far?
Yeah, I've always liked Russian women's CS, and No Fear 5 yesterday really gave Galaxy Racer pretty big fight. Unfortunately, I wasn't on the desk, but I was able to watch it, and it was kind of crazy how far they brought these games. It doesn't look with the 2-0, but I'm looking forward to seeing them playing Pride, another Russian team, because I do believe that No Fear 5 might be that challenger team getting ready to eventually be in the top 3 with Galaxy Racer and XSET.
So, Fearless, you mentioned these 2 teams just a moment ago. It will be Project C facing off against Arcane Wave, and we're now going to get into our map veto. So I'm curious, obviously, data is not a massive thing we have at the moment, excluding like some online ESEA games, but do you have any maps that you think are specifically banned out or are going to be picked by either of these sides?
I have a feeling Project C probably will ban Vertigo. I remember during the last showdown, it was a map they didn't even practice at that point. Probably now, you know, if we're still a few months in, probably will get out, but they're gonna leave it and floating, as we see Inferno banned up first, and I can see why. Because it is probably the best map for Arcane Wave, so they're trying to play on the strengths and the weaknesses of their opponents, and we see a Nuke coming in, a map that Arcane Wave played against Exit and Mirage. Also, I kind of like to see this because Project C picking Nuke, I like that because Arcane Wave have pretty much lost every single map on, or a time on Nuke for like the couple of 2-3 months or so. And Mirage is a good map for Arcane Wave, but it's also one of the stronger ones for Project C. So I think it will probably favor them a little bit more.
Well, Miss Harvey, interestingly, wasn't it Arcane Wave who actually picked that map last time? Of course, in the meantime, before I hand that to you, make sure you vote in the Twitch chat down below, #ProJ and ACW, for who you think is going to be winning this one. But yeah, didn't they pick this versus Exet? So if anything, Project C coming into this and now picking it versus them is almost like a, yeah, we can take you on this map. We know what you've got.
I think it's very interesting. I think, I don't know if Project C is just looking at stats or if they actually watched the same game as we watched yesterday, because I know it looks that it was a 16-2 and it was like a no match. But Potter and I talked about how close the couple of like 6-7 rounds were, and Arcane Wave had the match planned. So this might be a little bit of drama incoming for Project C. I think they're not going to expect what Arcane Wave has to show on Nuke.
So to take more of a focus on Arcane Wave, Fearless, like for people who don't know as much about this team as maybe you do, like who would you be focusing on within this team? They've made some changes, as we know, to the roster that was very long standing, but has the addition been a good one?
Well, yesterday on Nuke, Wiki really popped off. Sadly, it didn't really translate to the rest of the team, but there were high hopes there for sure. On Train, the second map, not as much, but we're currently not probably going to see that one. So now that Train is out of the mix, I hope that she is going to be able to step up on Nuke once again, get the team together. And I would say keep your eyes on Joka as well, because even though she's a little bit younger, she has so much firepower to just shine and get the team lifted up. I'm just curious to see how, if they are actually able to do that today, because against XZ, it was lacking a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But obviously going up against well, I guess you could argue a slightly weaker opponent to what we saw previously. Do you think, Miss Harvey, that this will be anything like the match we saw yesterday for Arcane Wave, or are they still going to be in a much better sort of mindset, maybe better form, facing off against a team that isn't sort of the Queens, as you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, it was a really rough start of the tournament, but it is what it is when you are coming from, I want to say, the contender. You have to face these tough matches early. So I do believe that it probably helped them wake up and be in shape for today. Project C is coming in a little bit colder. They haven't been playing in a tournament so far. We don't know what's in it for them yet. So I have to kind of be expecting Wiki to be in a better shape than what she showed us. Although there was a lot of cute moment, like you mentioned, Verlis.
Yes.
Well, moving on to Project C, again, a team that we're yet to see within this tournament, having to go straight into the lower bracket as they came through the qualifiers. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to claim to be an expert, Veerless, but these are some names that I recognize when looking at the Project C roster.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Hedje has been around for so long. She is the leader of the squad and taking the whole team to Spirit. And the face I'm gonna keep my eyes on for this game is probably Aurora. She is a little bit of a newer addition, but she has a big ton of experience as well. And a little bit of a fun fact, I actually came to notice that there was a charity event, I think like maybe a week or so ago, and she played alongside with Guardian in that tournament. It's not like a very small name, and just to have someone that big next to you and be able to shine like that, I think, you know, maybe the little bit of experience that she can take with her, maybe a little bit of advice, I hope that can shine through. And so far, I've seen a little bit of Project C in the past, or also with Aurora. They can be really good, but the practice might not have been there. I know that Hedje has been casting this whole week as well, alongside with probably preparing for this tournament, so maybe not the full focus. So let's see if they can still make it happen against Arcane Wave.
Yeah, that's one of the worries, I guess we could say, when it comes to this one. But I believe we're going to get into our predictions now, where we actually think this one is going to be going. Now, me being as clueless as I am, I'm going to do the classic host thing and ask Miss Harvey first, see what she says, and then maybe copy it or be a little bit evil and go the other way. So, Miss Harvey, where are you going with this one?
I'm gonna go with Arcane Wave. I love the girls from Project C, but right now I just think there's a little bit more preparation and cohesion on that team. Also, it's a little bit of a blur. Not sure what Project C is gonna show today, so I'm gonna go with the Polish.
Fearless?
Oh, I'm a little bit doubting, because the veto technically favors the other squad, but I would have to go. Arcane Wave is probably a little bit more prepared. They already had a match to play here. They can learn from that, take that with them, and don't forget the fact that they're actually boot camping right now. They're sitting next to one another. That has to be good for their communication. So I think that might take them to victory.
While with Hedje being involved in the Norwegian side of talent, I've got to back my fellow talent. I might bump into her. I don't want her to get angry at me. So I'm going to be going with Project C. I think the European squad are going to have this one. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. I think that's what we've learned. This is going to be a close game. Yeah. The polls might edge it slightly, but all we can do now is wait and see. And we've got the fantastic duo back from DreamHack Open December. It will be Vince and Potter bringing you this match after the break.
Welcome back to the live coverage of the DreamHack Showdown. I'm Vince, joined by Potter, and it's great to be with you again, Potter. It's been a few days, since our last cast, but we're ready to get back into another best of three.
Yeah, absolutely. It's early days right now, but hopefully these gamers are a lot more warmed up than I am. But yeah, I'm absolutely ready, Vince. I think we did all right the last time we were duoing together.
Yeah, I agree. I think it went pretty decently, and now we get a chance to warm our vocal cords up and get into this matchup. Project C going up against Arcane Wave, and our first map on Nuke. In terms of where we feel this one will come down, I'm a bit torn here because coming into it, I thought Arcane Wave were probably the favorites, but I agree with Velas. I think maybe this picks and bans slightly favor Project C.
Yeah, a lot of question marks coming up. I think the desk touched on a lot of good points. Arcane Wave, they were just right there yesterday versus XDev, and Wiki, she should be good for this shot, but she goes down. Too many Glocks in her face, and right away, Project C, they're beelining it, Vince. They're already down secret.
They're going for that rush into Madzik's hands, and the Poles trying to hold on as best as they can, but only one player now remains. That's going to be Angie, who's perched up on the ramp. Plenty of sound cues for her to work off, but now a smoke in her eyes. Has to turn to that different angle. This is where expecting all those Glocks and the picked up USPs to be put down range. And Project C, that's a comfortable pistol. They never really looked out of it.
No, they didn't. Just pure dominance, and the confidence coming through, just dry peeking outside. I thought that Wiki would be able to pick off some and hide and tuck behind that connector area, but not to be done. Just getting one tapped out of the server, and that's a strong start coming out from Project C. And a lot of questions coming up. You know, Steph, Miss Harvey brought up the fact that Arcane Wave played Nuke yesterday, played and picked into it on their series, so maybe Project C are going to be bringing out that counter game, you know? 2020 online Counter-Strike has been all about gathering that intel, so we'll see how ready Project C look. But if it's anything like this pistol and anti-eco, they're looking like they want to send a message here.
They saw from Aurora almost like yawning. Like, is this all you got? But obviously early days. Now there's going to be some rifles put into play and a good chance for Arcane Wave to bounce back and show us exactly what they have. There is a great foundation down though. Project C, Hedger, and Aurora have played together on and off for a very, very long time. Many, many years. So you've got to assume that cohesion is going to be there. Plenty of damage through the smoke though, down to Secret. Aurora dropped incredibly low to 41. But they have made up a lot of room in the process before Jolika's going to spot multiple. Has the head removed, Colin caught with a grenade out. How's she still alive?
Oof. Some rustiness coming through in the beginning here. Angie does get a pick off. If Paulin isn't able to do something, they might recover. She does do a lot of damage peppered through, but Angie, she's still down lower. She's got a lot of backup from her teammates.
Wiki now with the spray. The bomb has been dropped. Second frag comes in. Very nice work from Wiki. Before she will fall, Hedger is low. There's plenty of time left for the two of Project C to make some maneuvers back up towards the outside and towards A.
Yeah, both defense players for Arcane Wave are down lower. Hedgie, she's quite low. There is a kit on Arcane Wave. This should be a post-plant scenario. The thunder footing around should give the information over to Arcane Wave. You can see the rotations are coming through now. Peekaboo.
Ladder is such a nightmare. It's so frustrating. You know where the player is, you want to shoot, but your accuracy is all over the place. HP slightly favoring Arcane Wave, but they only have one flash to bounce back onto the site with. And Madzik's up on Heaven. Hedge just seems to know this is a possibility. The spray is good. That puts it all down to Angie. Solid tap onto the head of Kezi, but the now next bullet could very well finalize this round. There's enough time if Angie can get her hands on the kill, but Hedgie stands tall and Project C have 3.
Again, the aggression just really catching Arcane Wave off guard. That pistol was dominant. And even though only one player survives for Project C, I mean, once again, dominance, just controlling that secret area. You saw the members of Arcane Wave kind of fumbling over their grenades, getting caught off guard. So this initial aggression coming up from Project C, it's absolutely working.
The effects are Deagles. Got a flashbang in there, bit of Kevlar on Wiki. But for the most part, Arcane Wave really feeling worse for wear. And you saw a bit of a panicking in some parts downstairs on control room with grenades caught out, as you said, maybe a bit of rustiness coming into this. Have to hope for Arcane Wave's perspective that they can pick up the slack sooner rather than later. This is Project C's choice of maps. You expect them to be pretty solid on it. But so far, they have looked dominant.
Just some pistols for Arcane Wave side, and Angie Goodnight gets taken out. Paul, and she's all alone towards this ramp with just a P250, but this angle, if it's not checked, ooh, but Nessa, aware, takes her out, and this is just looking like a wipeout here.
Indeed, more of the same. Wiki, maybe with a chance at the cross. 2 players on red container with a deagle, misses the shots and gets punished, which leaves Madzix downstairs with the P250. Maybe encircled by T's momentarily. She will have opportunities, but no real softened targets to finish off. Nice frag onto Kezi. Can pick up the M4. Maybe can put in for another frag, but has to reload. Stuck in decon, living on borrowed time, and Project C. They're off to the races. 4-0 start, and every single round has looked so easy for them.
So easy. Double AWPs, though, coming out right off the bat. For Arcane Wave, this should give them some more control towards this outside yard, holding down those long lines. That is definitely where the issue has been. We'll see if Project C does the same number or they make some adjustments. It looks like those outside smokes will go down right off the bat, but most of the players are coming in towards lobby, it seems. Oh no, they are going outside.
Ooh, Wiki wasn't too far off connecting a second. Aurora's been finished off. Excellent AWP work. The Polish team now have something to celebrate, something to be excited about, but they can't rest on their laurels because they're losing A. Just a straight up A hit. Couple grenades tossed in for good measure. Poland has managed to rummage around the backside, but gets taken down by Zana. Dearie me, Arcane Wave, they had chances here, Potter. This probably should have been their round.
Yeah, 2 huge openings. Wiki, she's still in it. She is down connector, but 2 AWP retake is just asking for a lot. But hey, Angie, she gets a blind kill. That's definitely something. Oh, and another one to follow up. Xana's got the trade. She's good for it, but Wiki comes through the connector. That is a solid clutch, a very unlikely clutch. And Wiki's running around looking for the kit. She's got to be careful. She will be able to recover that and defuse the bomb. Man, that was a 2v3 double AWP retake. You very rarely see those.
That shot from heaven from Angie while full flash was actually outrageous. Like, fully blinded, just flicks down to an off angle and connects it. That's huge. That was a massive reason why they pulled that off, but you got to give Wiki credit as well. I mean, she also tagged that secondary player while in midair and then finished her off with the headshot. Very impressive work. But is that something they can really rely on, Potter? I'm not too sure, because even that couple opening picks, the A site looks shaky.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be rough, especially because they lose one of the AWPs. All 5 kills were off the back of those AWPs, and Wiki waiting for the flashbang. The timing is not on her side. Aurora says, thank you. I'll take that freebie. Poland's been aggressing towards mid lobby constantly, but she gets punished this time too. Things are falling apart once again here for Arcane Wave.
Yeah, it's just aggression that seems to be Arcane Wave's undoing. Slow peak, and she won't be missing that. We've seen she's very capable with the AWP. Now, Arcane Wave, a player behind, have lost control over downstairs. They haven't fully given it up. Player on the decon stairs. Madzix will watch them on the cross, but it's only to FAMAS. Now she wishes she had something better, and that is why. Headshot straight away with the headshot onto Madzix, and I feel like this is getting into a bit of deja vu territory, Potter. Everything is just crumbling and falling to pieces.
Yeah, their money is screwed right now too. Angie gets a pick, but she's gonna get Molotov'd out, but she pushes forward, and that's gonna be to her demise. Project C really controlling the pace, controlling the money, and controlling the frags all across the board right now. Arcane Wave making desperate plays across the board, and man, I feel for that initial opening there. I believe it was Wiki trying to wait for that flashbang. Maybe the communication needs to sharpen up a bit. Maybe a tactical timeout needs to come through, but Arcane Wave, they need to wake up.
Absolutely. Totally be on board for a tactical timeout. Just, if nothing else, to use it as a detox period. But Wiki, there's the headshot with the deagle. One fun trade. Lack of firepower and utility, though, still will heavily favor the T's, especially if they keep getting peaked slowly. Edgy's been around the block enough times at this level of Counter-Strike to be able to thwart any of that aggression. 8-2 with 137 ADR as well, as having a great start.
Leading by example, we've had some great performances from in-game leaders coming through, and Hedgie, all that experience is definitely going to help give her an edge. Nessa's testing her luck towards this ramp. That's a nice shot. She's being very wary, and whoo, Nessa. crisp. It's just pistols, but you know, it's always nice to see good crosshair placement.
Absolutely. And even against M4s, those would be insta-kills as well. Like straight up headshots around the corner. So it's really, really good to see. Plus confidence inducing. She is a young gun, sometimes maybe a bit too aggressive. But that's the other side of the coin. If you need someone that crack open a site and to be an X factor, Nessa definitely can do that and more. Madzik's now 1-on-4. P250 heard a little bit of information, but Hedges still spins around. And Project C, another round where they only lose one player.
Yeah, the money is overflowing right now. Project C are definitely going to be balling out of control real soon. Arcane Wave's got to get a grasp in this first half before it just gets really out of control. Angie's going to be wielding that AWP once again, and Julka's been fairly quiet, you know, which is very surprising, uncharacteristic. I think Julka's been the heaviest hitter for this Polish ladies for a couple of years now, so waiting for her to wake up and get into this. Aurora's already in her. This is a quick inner split.
Very quick. Gonna cost them a couple of lives, though. They have to play with fire through the Molotovs. Edgy straight back in with 2 more. She has been unbelievable so far. There's Nessa as well. So they've turned the tides. This was effectively a 3v5, 3v4 on the approach. Poland has the off angle. Has had a great game so far and comes out second best in the trade. Project C. Just ruthless aggression again, Potter.
She's an entry, Vince. She's an entry. Hedgie never stopped going forward. 4 kills for her in this round. We just talked about her ADR, but man, she is absolutely producing right now. Just working off her teammates' point of contact really well, and yeah, that's just a easy 4K for Hedgie.
Here's the timeout that we were looking for.
Oh man, and Wiki just 4-spot a FAMAS. She's not gonna get much grenades out of that either. This is not looking too hot for Arcane Wave right now. Maybe some deflated morale. They're gonna have to get it together.
I'm not even sure what adjustments they can make, because it just seems like, in terms of dueling, Project C have always been ahead. It's a disjointed buy, as you said. Wiki maybe jumping the gun a little bit. FAMAS, I mean, we'll talk about raid bosses. FAMAS isn't really the first weapon that springs to mind in those kind of situations. It's normally an AK, maybe an AWP or something like that. But she is playing up close on Squeaky. And Project C are respecting this. They've backed away, one of their slowest starts yet. And even then, they've taken lobby control.
Hedgie just reading the game so well, knows that Arcane Wave should be working with scraps, letting Arcane Wave make the first move, and it looks like this is just going to be a ramp play. Again, just a clear opening for them. All the defenders are just huddled up towards that upper. And Wiki's really, she's going to have to save this FAMAS into the next round.
There's not many other options, really, is that? Checking all their angles. Sana, in the meanwhile, watching it from ramp with the AWP. Wiki will be coming down. Does actually connect the headshots. That's a big pick, but does lose so much HP in the process. Can't really justify going to pick up the weapon and maybe trying to trade out. So you get 1 kill for a post plant. Unlikely that much else will follow. They got P250s, no reason to save with 3 of these players at least. So maybe can post up for some exit frags and try and upgrade to AKs, but it's a pretty sad state of affairs, Potter, when you're looking at maybe picking up a few scraps and being 8-1 behind on your CT side already.
Yeah, Arcane Wave's got to be real careful here. They want to go for this retake because they got that initial pick, but that FAMAS going down is going to really hurt into the next gun round. This is definitely a lost cause, valiant effort, at least. But okay, Madzix is able to save that AK. That's going to mean a lot coming into this next round, to give it over to Wiki. Let her have that full head armor, full set of utility. All things considered, Arcane Wave, all those frags coming through, it should give them a bit of confidence coming into this next gun round.
I certainly hope so, because this has been a grim start for the Polish squad. Project C, their choice of Nuke, have been pretty electric on their T side. Very aggressive, but not scared to mix up the pace. Last round was a lot more disciplined. And yeah, the fact that Jolka has been so silent is probably the biggest surprise to me, because she is typically one of those players, especially statistically, that you look over on Arcane Wave and you say, right, well, she's probably going to be at the top of the scoreboard, fragging out, not necessarily carrying the rest of the team on her back, but basically being a real threat, like the real X Factor linchpin player. She hasn't really been here yet. I mean, going through into the 7th round, she had no kills and an ADR of about 15. That's pretty rough, right? Like, she needs to have more impact.
Yeah, definitely rough scenes here, especially as we keep mentioning. I mean, some of these heavy hitters for Arcane Wave they just have not shown up quite yet in this tournament. These rounds have not looked close. You know, the desk touched on the fact that yesterday's Nuke, at least the beginning half of it, Arcane Wave had those opportunities. Now, that was on the T side of things. Wiki just seemed like she had no cares in the world, entering, pressing W. Maybe the T side will have a different look, but they gotta get some rounds to actually be able to put up a fight in that second half. Wiki, she hears a lot of noise cues right now.
Do like that. Playing passively, being
boy.
patient, but they needed Poland to have more impact. They also had the attention down towards Deacon's stairs. She had freebies and missed out. Madzix now, who is watching from Deacon, has decided to rummage back towards the site, and Wiki is getting behind the T's. Big headshot. She definitely has been the standout player. Even in rounds they've been losing, she's been having impact. Flashbang up and over. She's about to get flanked, though. There is a wraparound from Kezi. She's gonna go down to the hands of Kezi. 3v3, and Kezi may get caught from the side of Jolka, who does spray in successfully, so at least Arcane Wave keep their player advantage.
Nesta's got the bomb on her back right now. That's a huge pickup. 2v2. They should know there's at least one more player down here. Looks like they're just going to go right up the vent. This is almost deja vu from just a few rounds ago. 2 versus 2. The bomb will get planted. And another retake. Now, Arcane Wave, they were able to make this retake happen last time with 2 AWPs. We'll see if Angie's able to pick off Aurora at door, but the timing...
Oh dear. Aurora couldn't believe it. Her reaction said it all, but now Nesta has put it down into a one-on-one. This is where the lack of mobility on Angie's AWP is going to be so vital. The bomb is also planted for Nesta. Flashbang to the vents is a solid one. Shield to revision, and there's the headshot. Never in doubt for Nesta. Making sure a target is properly down. 9-1 the score.
Huge smile on Nesta's face. That's a good clutch. It came down to a 1 versus 2. The timing towards door and the quick whiff made it look like it could have been possible, but just recovering. And those are crisp headshots. I mean, we saw Nesta's crosshair placement before. She's definitely a sharp cookie for sure right now. And Arcane Wave, man, they can't seem to get over that finish line. They had a couple of good pickoffs. Wiki just doing work every round, it seems. But a couple of the players getting caught off with the timing. That secret down lower has just been so painful for Arcane Wave this half.
Flashbang up and over doesn't really affect the oncoming T's, and Poland's rough day continues. To make matters worse, that's a bit of utility that's gone alongside it, and there's not a great deal in supply. There's an AWP, but it's glass cannon. They have 2 flashes and a smoke and pot. There's a minute to play with. This is going to be very rough for the CTs again.
Yeah, Nesta is really low. I'm not sure what that flash was from Poland. It looked like it would have been a sick pop flash, but no one was blind. Although Nesta is low, I bet she's going to be the one to entry. Make sure a trade does happen of some kind, and that's some good damage on both squads, but man, just a numbers advantage for Project C, funneling out that hut, getting the entries. They're not losing any of these entries, Vince. Just every time, Project C, they're tight-knit, getting the trades. Arcane Wave just can't seem to stop them.
Yeah, it seems really kind of like an obvious statement to make that the team that wins all the duels will typically win, but that's pretty much what I've been seeing here. Like Project C, each time they come round a corner, they wide swing it, they're getting the headshot, Arcane Wave aren't quite sticking the landing, and they're just making the most of it. I don't think it's necessarily like the most strategically adept T side of Nuke. They haven't needed to. Their blunt force trauma approach has been so successful. Why mix it up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? And they're 10-1, cruising to a very comfortable first half, and Arcane Wave just can't seem to get any consistency.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, Project C, they've shown us 3 things: secret fast, upper fast, or holding and waiting for Arcane Wave to make a mistake. And all 3 have worked beautifully. Not too much effort really needing to be there for Project C. But at the same time, I mean, you can't take too much away from these players. Hedgie has been a beast, and Nessa, as I said, she's looking really sharp right now. Good smokes across the board is not going to give Angie any line of sight. And this time around, Project C, they're being sneaky. They're walking, Vince.
Walking into Wiki, but when Wiki falls, that's a huge body blow that goes with it. At least Angie will equalize the odds. Anna has been put down by the AWP. Still have Kezi just watching lobby to make sure there's no fast rotation taking shape, but as is so often been the case, as you correctly pointed out, Potter, secret control has been the way of Project C, and absolutely take nothing away from them. Their aim has been fantastic.
Arcane Wave, 2 players upward. This push from Angie, that is a lot of information. That should give her a read of some kind. Just the fact that there was no follow-up, no trade to be had. And Poland does have a good idea. It's the first time Arcane Wave has had such a huge advantage into a round.
That's a very good point. It's typically when playing behind a player or 2 players, very weakened utility belt. There's been a lot of issues, but they've still bypassed these threats and got the bomb down as a result of 2 well-placed smokes onto ramp. This will funnel the CTs into play. Flash comes through. That flash is perfect, and it gets Aurora across the line for 2 frags. That at least evens it up, and now post-plant. This is an awkward one for Arcane Wave. Already nearly half of the fuse is ticked away, and Hedgie from control is putting this round to rest. It all falls on Jolka. Typically, such a good player. She's got the first. And now a weakened Nessa is all that stands. She's already won a few 1v1s, and there's another one to add to the list.
Easy. Too easy for Nessa. Things got dicey, but that pop flash play for Aurora, I mean, you can see that the Project C ladies, their communication is on point, because the way they're playing these rounds, as you mentioned, it's not tactically deep. It's just good communication, asking each other for flashes, and just making sure they get the trades. Aurora, big play to secure the round, and Arcane Wave, they're back down to scraps, just the pistols. Outside aggression initially, but Xana's heard all the commotion, and just like that, look at this, the read, immediately taking over this ramp.
Yeah, it would be one thing if we were sat here and Project C were 11-1 down and it was a lack of sort of depth to their playbook that was the issue. But when you're ahead this many rounds and everything is working, of course, they're just going to keep rinsing and repeating until there's some kind of move comes into play. Wiki, again, has been very impressive with her aim. It feels like whenever Arcane Wave have got the opening pick, whenever they've got close in rounds, it's basically been off Wiki's back. Now an AK does trade in, but it's another post plant. And Project C already staving away at quite a couple of interesting paths into this round. They've got players up on catwalk. They've got the spray on point. Gezi getting 2, and Hedgie again. Straight in with the AK. Aurora tries the spray, and it's down to Nessa. She's against Wiki, whereas the position was unknown before. Now it has been found, but is there even enough time? Holding down onto this site, the full 10-second defuse. It's going to be incredibly close, but she doesn't have it, and Project C will get it done again.
Damn, Wiki, nice try. Valiant effort. NT's in the chat. You said it, Vince. Wiki has been the one shining light on this Arcane Wave side. It just seems the way she's taking the duels, the way she's playing the game right now, it's a lot more different than how Arcane Wave are approaching things. But another round secured for Project C. This is rough scenes right now, Vince. Rough scenes.
It really is. I really do feel bad for Wiki. She's been having a great game, over 100 ADR, 12 kills, and still is losing 12-1. A 3K in that last round. nearly pulls it out the bag single-handedly. They have got the first pick, though, outside. So something that we can at least get behind here and hope that Arcane Wave can at least end the half strong. 12-3, it would be rough, make no mistake, but at least it gives you something to play with. They could very well return the favor onto Project C, but they've got to get enough rounds to build a foundation off. So please, Arcane Wave, convert this opportunity.
Definitely an opportunity. Nessa, she's testing her luck towards this ramp. She's been so successful. Angie gets caught out, and oh boy, she gets stuck on the box. Nessa's been good for that entry every single time. And that's the lower side gone. Poland is down here. She's been a struggle, and she's gonna get taken out as well. This is just demolishment.
Yeah, really rough times downstairs again. Wiki over the fire and flames. There's a weakened Xana that maybe she can finish off if Xana gets a bit too preoccupied with the peak. Flashbang will be behind Wiki. There's one. Doesn't expect the double up. Unfortunate. And Jolka down in decon. Maybe eyeing up a save. Not really much else to play for. Save is denied. 13-1.
Yeah, well, this is rough, Vince. I think if I'm Arcane Wave right now, I just kind of put this map in the back of my head, start thinking about, let's have some feel-good rounds for ourselves. Let's start just warming up. This is a long series. There are 3 maps, 2 more maps after this one to think about. So warming up your aim and getting involved into this first map is going to mean a lot moving forward into this series, but Arcane Wave, they've got the glass cannon AWP on the back of Wiki this time. And Project C have been giving opportunities for picks towards this ramp, so I understand why she's there, but this time, Project C are nowhere to be found towards ramp.
Slowing down the pace again, Project C. Not going for the super aggressive plays. It's a delayed explosion onto A. Checking their angles. Good crossfire put into range. 2 kills. Could be a third, but Angie and Matic run out of ammunition. Nearly out of health. Angie's down to 12 up in heaven. Nessa and Hedgie is still alive. However, with 50 seconds, they don't have to force the issue too much. Anticipating that pop flash, Hedgie turns her back. Second one won't affect her. And Angie walks out into the gauntlet again. Nesta gets aggressive. Wiki is there to deal with a bit of miscommunication, perhaps, as Hedgie was still in the same position, but at least Arcane Wave will end the half with a win. That is something to get behind, something to be excited about, perhaps, Potter, but they still will trail going into that second half at 13-2. Join us after the break to see if Project C can convert this quick. An incredible performance going through into our second half by Project C. We thought this would be a pretty closely contested game, Potter. It proved to be anything but. It was a massacre.
A complete massacre. And man, I'm not going to lie to you, Vince. I was cringing a lot in that first half. An immediate timeout coming out. Maybe some issues to start out with. But yeah, just starting off in the bat here. Once again, it is good that it was Wiki that had a banging last round to close it out and actually get the second round on the board. Now, I'm not going to sit here and hold hope that they're going to be able to make this comeback and get the W on Nuke. But as I said, just moving on to the second map, it will allow these players on Arcane Wave to kind of get involved and get invested into this series. But again, Vince, I'm looking straight at Wiki for Arcane Wave side. Her T side yesterday versus Xset, it was actually pretty incredible to watch, just the entries that she was providing for the Arcane Wave side. So this time I hope that the trades come through thick and fast for Arcane Wave so they can actually put the pressure onto Project C.
I'm assuming this is going to be a technical timeout as the players are still at spawn having discussions amongst themselves. So it seems we may need to wait a little bit longer before we get into this match. But yeah, we kind of had some intrigue coming into this as Arcane Wave picked Nuke against Xset yesterday. They lost it 16-2, but it is Xset who, you know, they're a pretty damn good team in their own right.
They're
I
all
think
right,
it's more.
Vince. They're all right.
Decent squad. You know, we actually got the chance to cast them the DreamHack Open as well against VP, I believe it was, and they had a few rounds where they looked really sharp actually, and their aim was absolutely on point. But I think we're starting to see some of the issues raised to the forefront again for Arcane Wave, and this for me does not necessarily bode fantastically on Mirage, because you know, we were talking about the maybe lack of strat book that Project C didn't really need to bring out. Mirage can be a run and gun kind of map as well. You don't have to have like the most intricate strats going into that. So if Project C are still hitting Mirage really hot, I'm not sure Arcane Wave can really deal with that.
I'm going to go the opposite way of you, Prince, for this one. I'm going to say that for Mirage, it should allow these Arcane Wave players to be a little bit more loosey-goosey. I think Nuke requires a lot of listening and a lot of intel gathering, and you saw it, right? I mean, these players were getting caught out with nades, Poland. The struggle was real down secret. It just requires a lot of information and proactive play on Nuke. For Mirage, I mean, come on, you can completely pog it out on Mirage. You don't need to lean too heavily into these protocols and fundamentals to make you a perfect team. It can absolutely just be a run and gun type of scenario, and that's where Project C were shining. So Arcane Wave, that's their opportunity to come back and show us a little something different.
I certainly hope so. They have a bit more time to think about things right now, as obviously we have our technical issues that are going on. I believe this is on the Arcane Wave side of things. They're kind of looking at each other. A bit of confusion when we went into the second pistol. Seems the players are nearly ready to rip back into this. In terms of the first half, though, Hedgie, 20 kills with 127 ADR, and Nessa not too far behind her at 16 kills. It's interesting, though, when you look across the Arcane Wave being 13-2 behind, Wiki had 15 kills, so only 5 off the top, but it looks like we're ready to get right back into this.
Pistol starting off right off the bat, and Angie, she's not stopping. Quick upper rush. She's blind, though, Vince, so blind.
Oh, and Kessie is just landing nothing but headshots, putting this down so awkwardly. Aurora straight round the back of them, and Joker is caught out in the open. Easy pickings. Project C steamroll ahead towards that 16th round.
Gotta go back in the server and dry run, Vince. The timing of those flashbangs, the set piece coming out, I thought it'd be strong. You saw the confidence of the players coming through, but man, team flashed. That's a feels bad. The auto pump is out. The MP9 is out. Kessie, wow. She wants to Goomba stop them.
Interesting. 14-2 behind. They've not gone in for a force bite. Wiki's gone for a deagle, so down to 1,300. So even in that next round, assuming they don't convert this limited buy-up, they won't have a great deal to play with again, Potter. This is very awkward. Jolka, though, beautiful headshot on Nessa. That keeps them in this round just about by the skin of their teeth.
Xana's got the scout. She will have some contact here shortly. That's a good shot, good damage dealt, and a good follow-up as well. Xana's a player I'm quite excited to watch progressing in this tournament, Vince. Her AWP in the last showdown was a head turner. She definitely seemed like she had some good mechanical skill behind her, and these are some nice shots coming out.
Scout headshot was huge. Remaining 2 Arcane Wave players outside, no flashes or smokes, but they've dinked and finished off Xana. Now Aurora with the FAMAS should be able to hold the line, and indeed she shall with Kessie, who takes away that second frag. So, 13 map points.
You saw Aurora turning around, looking at Kessie, like, back off my ecos, okay? It's my time. These are my kills. Yeah, Project C, ladies, they got to be feeling good. Just pure dominance. And I'm glad to see Hedgie representing the Boomers really well, top fragging as it should be. Definitely having a lot of fun. MP9 just spamming through the ramp here. And Kessie, wow, has that auto shotty still. That's always scary to when you're losing at such a large deficit. You just hear that auto shotgun popping off, holding the line. You don't want to die to that.
doesn't fill you with confidence, does it? And it is incredibly strong in these kind of angles. You saw players like Magisk in the past have a lot of success with the XM at top of huts. So you know that absolutely thwart and a bit of aggression. Arcane Wave now setting up for a potential play on towards the A side of the map. Or perhaps outside. I think they're lining up the outside wall, smokes. It's a bit delayed though, and although they do have Wiki up close, Nessa hasn't been pushed out of position. So even when these smokes come in, I think one of them just got whiffed. I just heard it plume elsewhere. Now the grenades start to come in. There's a Molotov behind it as well. Nessa behind that wall can do tons of damage. 40 seconds. Arcane Wave have got to get a move on as well. Even if they deal with Nessa, they still need to get across to the site. She's got one kill and gets the second. The bomb's also been dropped down. She's done all the work she needs to. That should be able to convert into the round, or perhaps not. Joker has kept them alive, kept them in this, but the spray's not quite on point for Xana.
That's a lot of damage dealt onto Xana, though. They gotta get this bomb down. No more utility on Arcane Wave. They will be able to get it down. Both players are stuck in the site, though. Xana just got a little peep.
Grenade to the back of the site, but Wiki with two big headshots again comes alive when they need her. Aurora may be able to line them up, but just gets the one. Makes it a costly round, though. But Project C's economy is not exactly ideal either.
Wiki, the savior for Arcane Wave, coming through again with a hero round. And Wiki, I mean, just looking at these stats, Vince, it's just impressive how involved Wiki has been in this losing game of 15-3. 6 out of 5 opening duels, just round after round. She's just getting in there, Vince.
Yeah, I love it. I love the aggression. There's some more aggression taking shape, but it's the FAMAS and Deagle of Project C that come out ahead. This was Arcane Wave's chance.
Oh no, Angie does a lot of damage to Nesta, but she's going to be able to get away, and just surviving at this point is going to be enough pressure onto Arcane Wave's side. Good flashbang. Nesta's playing with fire right now.
Still maintaining the two-player advantage, albeit low HP on 2. Xana with the scout. We saw what she's capable of just a couple rounds ago. Definitely don't take your eyes off this picture, but that flashbang with the follow-up AK headshot is brisk. Slick plays by Arcane Wave and just digs them a little bit closer back into this round.
Yeah, Arcane Wave have some good outside yard control. It's going to be a connector split, a good pickoff once again. This lobby crunch coming out from Kezi. That's exactly what Project C needed. Hedgie is up in this raptor, full HP and a rifle on her back, top fragging. And that's it, Vince. 16-3, dominant start here for Project C.
I'm in shock. Project C looked amazing, but Arcane Wave fared slightly better than against Exit yesterday, but only by 1 round. And the thing is, they had some chances, Potter. It's not like they got completely shut out. Yes, the scoreline is pretty brutal, and for the most part, it's accurate. I feel like they could have got 3 or 4 more rounds, though, here. And they just let them slip through their fingers.
Yeah, slip through the fingers. Wiki is a shining light, though. Again, I gotta hop onto that train. I think she did fantastic, especially when you're losing by such a long margin. So moving on to map 2, I'm looking at this squad of Arcane Wave to rally behind her and figure out some sort of game plan.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Mirage fares much better than Nuke did, but we're going to cut to the desk that'll break down that complete and utter carnage after this break.
Welcome back to DreamHack Showdown Winter. Now, this was a bit of a rough one. Project C came in, they picked a map that Arcane Wave were happy to pick just a couple of days ago. We were expecting maybe the Exet just almost like pulled off a ridiculous feat against them. It turns out maybe this is the norm. Fearless, this was not a map that I think Arcane Wave are going to want to remember in a hurry.
No, I was already surprised, that they kept Nuke in for the past couple of months. They haven't been shining really on Nuke. So to pick it in the first place against Exit was bold, but then losing that one, perhaps they were thinking, okay, we can adapt, we can learn from the game and fix our mistakes, but it definitely wasn't showing. They were being caught off guard, they were dispositioned, and they just seemed nervous, a little bit shaky. Whereas, for example, we saw Nessa really pop off with those headshots. It just wasn't there on the Arcane Wave side.
And Miss Harvey, I believe that you're going to almost paint the picture by starting things off at the very beginning of the game. You do have a drawing board to take us through.
I do have one. My second time using the drawing board. I'm excited because, as Potter said it was a hoof game. Let's look into it. Okay, so this might be your first ever of all time, round number 1 replay and drawing board, but it's so synonym of what everything happened. If you look here at the bottom, we have Project C sticking together. We mentioned how much maybe depth-wise it wasn't the best, but I have to come back just a second. Look at everybody getting caught off guard. Jill got here on the retake. Everyone is getting caught off guard, but the train is continuing. Edge and Aurora, they're just running in, and this was like this the whole game, guys. Project C stuck together, pushed, moved forward, and every single round Arcane Wave got caught off guard. It was quite actually impressive. I don't know if it was the nerves or if it was just overthinking things, but the players here, look, this is the same pistol I'm talking about. Every kill in this round, the CTs got caught off guard, and this is not what you want to look at day 3 of a big tournament like this today.
Well, that was the main worry, Veerless, is that we sort of looked at this match, and it wasn't like Project C came in with like massive counter strats, or they'd looked at their opponents and picked people apart. They were just running fairly basic, fast, aggressive strats, and it just seemed like the Poles just weren't prepared or weren't ready for it.
No, there was just simply no resistance, and even if they perhaps maybe didn't train as much for this event, you can see the experience of Hedge like carrying the team around and making sure everyone is in line, and they didn't really have to pull out like fancy stuff out of the bag. Just playing cleanly was enough to take at least this map to a victory.
Well, the worry as well as we now go into a map where, if anything, we see a lot of basic strats. So we're going to be heading into Mirage, and we've got to hope that Arcane Wave have got themselves prepared for this one. We'll be back after the break to see if they can turn this one around.